Up, up, up. Oh, I think I can. I think I'm heard now. I think I can. I think I'm heard now. All right. Uh, yeah, let's just keep going. Well, I got the stream health is good. I'm monitoring. Just making sure that the audio is good this time. Last time it wasn't. If anybody jumps in, let me know if you can hear me. Just making sure that the audio is good this time. Oh, yep. I can hear it coming through. All right. Let's hop on over to the old dashboard. Perfect. Okay. All right. We are back. I am back. I zoned out for 2 days and slept. Basically, at about 3 a.m. after the last show, I had to go to Safeway and buy a half gallon of NyQuil because holy shit, that cold really knocked me down. So, and I was losing my voice, so I basically just um, fell asleep that night and then kind of woke up on and off throughout the day, and I just shut down until about this morning, and then got up and felt much better. So, if my voice starts to fizzle, got some orange juice. But I should be fine. That's not very clean water, is it? Oh well. Okay, so recap. This is a whale, and these are 30 caliber mosquitoes. So we have them escorting this landing craft whale that's just opening his maw, about to hit the beach and unleash the hell, unleash the troops or the tanks or whatever it might be carrying. So, um, yeah, we're gonna start painting this bitch. And I know it's kind of quiet now, music-wise. Sugar's here. He's out taking a dab hit right now. So we're gonna when he comes in, maybe he's gonna play some tunes or whatnot. If not, I'll throw something on myself. So, but for now, let's maybe get some colors going in the old super high-end Chinette. So I think we agreed, right, that this is going to be a white whale with a green front, and I can actually make it some nice, like really cool lime green if I make this like a sunset or an explosion. So we're gonna go with like the teals and blues down here. We'll highlight with some of the oranges and yellows. I think we're just gonna go with uh, maybe an explosion here. We can add that in later. Um, Once I see how that looks. In fact, I think we will just to add some action. Otherwise, it just looks like an angry whale, really pissed off at this hill. So Moonwitch, what's up? Doing a lot better than I was. Much better. Thanks for hopping in. Yeah, excited to get painting on this. Yeah, so that's kind of the basics for the color. Awesome. Is my audio coming through okay? I need my sound engineer to check in. Hey, buddy, what's up? Now my little boy just poked his head in. I think they're out front, Max. Tonight off, I have a sick fur baby. Yeah, I know, man. That just like destroyed me. That cold. I just slept, forced myself. I'm pretty good at that though. I can usually just, I think most dudes are, just zone out, watch movies, fall asleep. Hopefully my, voice is back to. I think I can kind of hear it a little, but I feel a hell of a lot better. So let me get a brush and get some colors going, and let's start putting a wash in on this. I'm excited to get back to painting. I take a day off, especially when I come in and I do a nice sketch that I'm proud of, and I'm just like, shit, I want to get back to work, but I was so just out of it that it was not happening. All right, we're definitely going to bring in my favorite color, and we'll definitely throw a little bit of that, and I think we need some purple because why not? What else should we throw in there? I think maybe some of this orange. I got the blues, the teals. I got the maybe some purples. Yeah, we'll throw those in there. We'll just kind of it's war, right? And if it's war, you can do whatever the hell you want. All right, and this is going to go a little bit different because well, it was weird. Once I penciled, I did a little ink test on this canvas. It's a different kind of canvas I was using, and I didn't I don't know if it was pre-primed, so I did a little test, and this beaded a little. But once I put all the pencil down and went over it with the ink, for some reason it seemed to did fine. So it might bead a little, and and we'll see. Shoot, you know what? Be right back. I forgot to turn my lights on to actually light up the. There we go. Oh, canvas. Yeah, it's much more light. Perfect. It was a little dark. Okay, so, and, where is my, okay. Oh, there you are. Paint rag, which has seen better days. That's a nice, well-used rag. Cigars are you there? Let me know if you're watching, man. I got your gift in the mail. All right. So we'll pop a little water in there. Oh, yeah. It's got some color in it. It's nice. It's dirty paint water. I love it. We're going to start with a little bit of the blue over here just to kind of bring it in, even though this is going to be more of a sunset or explosion up top. But I like the base. We'll try and base coat it. Again, as with other paintings that you've seen me done, I'm not concerned about the bleed over. It'll all work itself out in the end. And if it doesn't, it will. And we'll do some of this. All right. I know it's a little bigger of a canvas than I'm normally. A smidge bigger. 16 by 20s. This is an 18 by 24. Didn't have a chance to get to the store to pick up more canvas. But I had this gem laying around in the closet. So. All right. Okay. Need some tunes, man. We're live.
What the fuck?
Sugar's back. Large in charge. High. Little bit. Off of what's the strain? Duh.
Well,
Duh.
some Ace of Spades.
Ace of Spades. A little
And,
Lemmy tribute strain of Mary Juana.
Yeah. And some Grape Stomper.
Grape Stomper. Nice.
Yeah.
For the, the wino in us all.
I didn't even think about it that way.
Say you're a 50-year-old, stay-at-home, wine-drinking,
Why not?
divorcee. And maybe you want to jump into the MJ game.
So I used to have this comedy cassette that's from the 70s or some shit like that. And there was a George Carlin skit on there.
Oh, yeah.
Called Wonderful Wino.
Nice.
It was on a radio station, Wonderful Wino.
Very cool. I'm going to take a touch of this purple. Throw it over here.
You need tunes, but you need
Because
copyrighted tunes.
Yeah. I mean, since we want to put the show out and not get blasted for copyright and stuff or muted or whatever. We're all about originality here.
Yeah.
We're down with that.
I need to get the modular going on the laptop. I have a modular synth program for the laptop.
Nice. He does have some synths where he can just hit a bunch of buttons and it sounds like today's music too. Because that's what those guys did.
That's what they do. They press buttons.
Button pusher. Used to be a bad thing. I mean, technically still is, but.
I mean, depends on who you are. Drummers fucking hate button pushers.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, that power supply I bought didn't work.
Oh,
So
power supply does not work. All right, let's put a little yellow in there so we can get this hill in. We'll dab the orange a little bit. There we go. There we go. All right. Why am I using dirty paint water, by the way? Because certain elements floating around in there will mix and give it that real grungy kind of yellow and orange and whatnot. And sometimes there's some colors in there that I didn't even choose, and it just adds to the smokiness of the painting. If a technique that evolved from pure laziness, but then I went, wait a minute, this actually kind of works. So right now, I know it looks like the electric Kool-Aid acid test, but I swear it'll look like the, there we go, World War II background. Well, unless I'm done, that's it. Let me sign this fucker and get it out there. Thanks for tuning in. See? Sugar, this is great. I think it's finished. Look at it on screen. It looks great. Classic.
What are you, a graphic designer now?
I am. Someone drew this whale, and then I just paint bucketed the background.
You just paint over it.
That's exactly how it works. And then a little yellow along the coastline here. Kind of. Yeah. Bring some of that yellow down and kind of play with the reflections in the water, and then it also adds another layer of green. Alright, so we're just kind of buffing this in, brushing it in. And yeah, I'm liking where this is going. So basically just highlighting where the explosion's coming from, bringing in some darks, almost like maybe the sunset or some toxicity in the air, atmosphere, but also paying attention to the fact that this is going to be like some darker greens that'll play well with the orange, and then we'll go back into the white whale. The fact that he's white is going to pop against all these colors. And then down at the tail, I think we might bring in like a dark reddish purple and then bring it up into actual blood that kind of splatters up the side of the whale. So see how horror we want to get with this. How Freddy Krueger. And we can also, right at the top back here, fade in some of that yellow. And as always, it might be some time to throw some water on this piece, because that's always fun. Oh, let's see, what do we got here? So let's do that, and we'll just kind of tap that on there. The color pigmented water also allows me to see kind of where I'm throwing this shit too, so maybe this corner will be really bleached out, almost like this is an old war poster that has been sitting around since 1940s, and maybe it fell in a rain puddle back in the day, and Grandpa went, "Oh no!" But he kept it anyway, and it's just been in his folded up in his old Foot Locker. There we go. So we'll really get that corner there. There we go. Now it looks like an old Grateful Dead shirt that was bleached and used since that summer of love. All right. This one's down there. We'll move this up. Oh yeah, we got the little "What's up, kitty cat."
What's up, kitty cat?
What's up? Can you see him? Right? Yeah, I think right back there. Alrighty. Woo! I think I worked off that cold. I feel very energetic right now. Oh, granted, 2 cups of coffee and a giant chocolate brownie with ice cream after a fine crab linguine dinner just may do it. I'm going to say it's because I'm not sick anymore. Yeah. All right. A couple of things I gotta think about. First of all, what do I want to do with these mosquitoes? Like, what color scheme should they be? I mean, they're pretty gnarly. They have green machine guns, maybe. I don't know. I mean, like, we're kind of messing with the whole World War II thing here. I guess I don't have to stick with colors as well as, you know. I mean, they're awesome if they were red. I think some, you know, like red with like maybe some markings or whatnot. Just kind of give them that really psychotic, maybe a red body, blacking in the fur right here. But even red fur would be cool because it can, you know, go in with the line work and highlight it, make it almost like the bumblebee on on the Mad Hatter piece I finished up last week. There we go. And some of the pencil that didn't get erased, just let all that smudge in there. It just all adds to the atmosphere of the painting itself. All right. Yeah, I think if my audio is fine right now, I think it's because the headset wasn't charged last time. For some reason, it was picking up that it was an input, but but it was not actually working. So, oh well. Flat back. All right. I've got these colors in there, so why don't we start at the bottom? Start laying in some, where's my, I need a flat brush. So let's get the big brush first, and we're actually going to bring a lot more of this solid, turquoisey, we can start indicating some of the wave lines. Just making sure it's nice and there. And then once I get a lot of this detail work in, I'll actually come and fuzz the edges out again in order to, give it that kind of underwater, that watery look to it. You playing some World of Warcraft tonight there, Moon, or what? If I remember correctly, I think that's one of your games of choice. There we go. All right, yeah, that nice kind of, here comes the depths look to it. You can even kind of cut a few in. Some of these, we'll go in with a smaller brush, but for now, just to kind of, indicate that there's variance in color and wave lines in the waves. Start the layering process. And then we'll go pretty crazy with the line work on the waves too. So if you look at the painting on my website, SeanDietrichArt.com, that's called There's a Lady, tribute to Led Zeppelin. The line work and the waves I went pretty crazy with, so I think we're going to do the same down here. We'll leave this a little more open and spacey, but we'll make this really tight with the line work. But with the whale being white, it should pop behind the line work as well. So and then we'll get up to these mosquitoes. So yeah, I'm thinking the red mosquitoes will contrast nicely against like the olive drab and the white whale, and then we'll have a nice big explosion over here done up in dark blues, and we'll just kind of figure out where to throw in like the debris being tossed out. So we'll do a little bit more of the color stripping, maybe just peels that color right off. Come over here, get these lines. Yeah, there we go. Okay. And that'll just be a constant process of stripping away color and adding, different layers and whatnot. So there we go. There we go. All right. So, all right. I think what we want to do, let's start on the whale. Let's kind of get the white of the whale in here, and then I can start cutting the ocean in underneath him. So, underneath him. I just invented that. On top of him. There we go. So for that, I gotta buy more white. We're gonna just bust into some pure white. That little funky thing off there. Okay. And grab a couple of brushes. I think for this bolted on stuff it'll be green, so we'll leave that for now. As far as putting the green in, but I will put a white base underneath it just for so the color I put on top of it pops. Sugar's got his music going in the background there. I don't know. Maybe not, since it's my mic's picking it up. But Sugar back here is the guy who produces all the music for my time lapses and whatnot. Check him out. YouTube links in my feed. I also did upload them directly to my Twitch updates, so they should be on the front page there. And I'm basically going to, we'll eventually shade this out, but as it kind of comes in, I am going to, you know, just kind of blend this white. I'll hit like the left areas pretty strong. And then I'll blend these in with the blue of the ocean. So it kind of just gives that ghostly, you know, apparition effect. And once I do the line work and a lot of the darker shading, that'll be a little more prominent. You can just tap that out with your finger a little bit, and, you know, kind of decide how much you want to open up the white to the blue. Yeah, like in here, we know it's going to be a pretty prominent part of this wave, so we'll just a little bit. We'll kind of shade it as it gets to the top, because we'll put a lot heavier color on top for reflection. And we'll bring in all sorts of colors. I mean, we'll reflect some of this purple down there and whatnot, so we'll, you know, don't think this white whale isn't going to look like some kaleidoscopic hippie nightmare. Because he will. There we go. All right. And we're going to do this bottom part, and then we'll hop up here and start dropping in the white. And maybe hit it on the edge there. More concerned with just getting the bottom part. Since I am going to be working with a lot more color up here, it might be wise, or I may leave the white till the end for the top part, just so it's, you know, super crisp and clean, and then with the line work over top of it. And I'm just scrubbing this in. I use a lot of, just turning the brush sideways and using my finger to push the paint around. And then we'll go in with that famous Holbein ink and detail out the whale, make sure he gets his nice Sean Dietrich line work treatment. There we go. And I'm not, I'm just using the straight paint as well, not watering it down or whatnot. I want to make sure I get a good, layer of it on the canvas. There we go. At the same time, being able to manipulate it. And it's not like a heavy body acrylic paint either. Not like a Liquitex either. So. Go in there a little bit more. There we go. It's okay if I cover up some of these lines. I get the gist. A lot of these in the beginning are only guidelines anyway. But even getting to the point where you can put down ink lines and then buff over them and know that they were just a guide. I mean, that's that's the kind of confidence you want to build up to in your artwork, where you're able to just throw these lines down that you can manipulate any which way. Because you are the master of the paint. There we go. Get that other fin. Ugh, itchy nose. There we go. Boop, boop. Windows is trying to tell you something. Let me know if you guys can hear the tunes okay too. Switch to a bigger brush. So I have a larger space to fill. Alright. Kind of blend all that together. Well, we're starting to get the white whale in there. Just kind of cut a little bit of white in there, hit the edge. And pieces like these, I like to look at it in the beginning, and it's like, okay, one particular centerpiece, one animal, one vehicle, whatever. It's not a very complex painting as far as like the amount of entities in it. I mean, there's the whale and the three, mosquitoes and whatnot. So that's where, in these, I know that I'm going to go in and do a lot of line work, excuse me, towards the end, which will help it pop. And then it gives me these kind of like mass different sections that I can play against that. So whereas there's a lot of line work down here, the whale himself will have kind of some, more lines towards his eye and where he kind of, crinkles. This will be more left open as well as the, the landscape around him will be just more texture as opposed to line work. It'll make him pop. And it'll really separate that from, that this is an actual more solid, it's water as opposed to just pure air. And then, the same, a nice transition piece with the hill here. So, so when I'm building a piece as well, it's important to look at, kind of envision the end game in order to help balance out how the final piece is going to come into existence. Because a lot of that will help determine, like, eliminate unnecessary work as well. Like if I'm doing a ridiculous amount of shading that's just going to get covered up by line work, then there's absolutely no point in doing that. So we'll keep that fairly just blue on the edge there. All right, but we have the base for a whale. And let's go ahead and get, this is going to be a little bit grayer. So where's this green for the metal parts and the kind of his little gloves. I'm still going to go in on this fin area here and drop in some white. Because that'll be, remind me that that's more of an organic part as opposed to mechanical. There we go. Excuse me. So we'll start over here on the back. Again, not worried about these lines. They shall return. Same with these circles. They may return. They will. And I do kind of. Again, anything that adds texture. A-okay in my book. There we go. All right. almost dry brushing, just scrubbing that in, making sure it gets in all the, you know, grittiness, texture of the canvas. Using the canvas to overlay patterns as well, help create textures, as opposed to like a smooth wash if I added water. So much of eraser stuff just fell out, but that's all right. A little bit of grit. Whale's going to war. We can have some grit. And down here there'll obviously be a lot of shading in there with the we'll go with some nice grays. And take care of that. A little water on that brush. Okay. If anybody watching's got any art to show off too, drop a link in chat. Guys, feel free to promote if you want to promote a link. Show off some new stuff. Link us to your Instagram, website. Always down to check out new art. Got a lot of that eraser shit in there. There we go. Alright, so buffed him out a little. And I think I haven't done anything new though. What? Were you not working on anything new on your stream last week? You gotta crank it out. Let's go. Of course, with how intricate your work is, like mass production, I assume, is not something in your vocabulary. And obviously, it's not about getting the art out as fast as possible. $50 pairs of earrings. Nice. Well, there you go. That is a good stock. I can hear my wife now. Oh, that's a good start. She would love 50 pairs of earrings. And then 100 pairs of earrings. The keychain. All right, let's check out this keychain. I'm going to click on this link here. Oh, yeah. Okay, so I did see this. Race orient. Okay. There you go. Now you're in the keychain market. I think I'm gonna tap a little white in here to kind of play with this texture a little bit. But this I think is gonna have some red on it. But we'll still go in there and give it kind of the textured treatment. And obviously you can see the difference between like where there's no, white paint and where we're kind of keeping it, There's Cigar Czar. What's up, buddy? You just log on? You've been lurking. Alright, so, okay. I got a package in the mail today. Somebody sent me some fine cigars. Hang on one second. Let's see here. Boom. Oh, yeah. Got the, 12,600 of these made, if I remember the letter correctly, and 8,010 boxes or something like that of these, right? These are the good ones. All right, cool. There we go. Thank you so much. These are awesome. These are some of the coolest gifts I've gotten from anybody. First gift I've gotten off the stream. Can't buy them. This is amazing. This is cool. I got I actually in August. I'll have to think. I have a family reunion coming up in July, so I'm thinking maybe my brother-in-laws and I will try them out and there, or I do go to a smoker friendly. It's called Smokers Friendly or Smoker Friendly. It's like a chain of stores up in the Midwest and Florida and whatnot. But there's a lot of cigar companies there, and a lot of the guys that we take out to dinner. I'm there with OCB rolling papers, so we take a bunch of guys out to dinner and clients and whatnot, and a lot of them are huge cigar aficionados. So if I don't smoke them at the reunion, I'll either bring them with me, or at least brag about them at the convention, and pretend like I know what I'm talking about. But thank you. That was awesome. And I looked up the soap company too. Yeah, I never heard of that town in Washington. I'll have to check it out, or you know. But I went on the website, and that looked really cool. You know, my wife's into really, you know, obviously she likes some high-end, nice soaps. All right, we'll do a little color stripping on this guy right here. I don't even know if that'll. It doesn't really translate well on white, but it's just. But you know what? I know I did it. I shoot all their pics. Oh, okay. Like for the company, or no, for the soap company. So I thought you meant cigars for a minute. But all that photography on the website is yours. That is some good photography. Yeah, cool, awesome. Yeah, we may have to order some stuff. Why not? I'll definitely drop something in the mail to that return address there, and make sure we got something cool for you, art related, for the cigars. Yeah, I was looking them up online to get a little more history behind the cigars and whatnot, and was reading the press releases, like the year they were released, and at some show in Vegas, I believe, the 2013 one. Now, what does it mean when they say they only released like 250 humidors? So is that a certain amount that comes with it, or is that what a box of cigars is called? Oh, finally added the neck piece to the amulet. Oh, okay. Let's check this out. Oh, cool. Oh, and you got matching earrings with that. That is awesome. Jesus. The detail on that. How big is that butterfly across? Like 3-4 inches? Media resource decoding error. What? I've never seen this before. It says I'm still streaming and I got like good internet, but Yeah, I don't know what that was.
Did it go away?
I don't know.
Is everything going the same way?
It looks fine.
Encoding error?
Yeah. Well, it was just the screen that I'm watching on my iPad on my dashboard. Just an error popped up.
But I mean, it's still showing the screen the same.
Yeah.
So it's still encoding. It was just a momentary.
Now you're making me want to find a tape measure.
Is it recording still?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Hey, did anything go blank on my my stream in the last like 30 seconds? I had an encoding error pop up on my video preview, but I'm thinking that was the Twitch site and not me. So I refreshed the page and it seemed to have fixed that, but you know, I guess that's kind of like kicking the machine to make it work. The equivalent. Washing machine's making a noise? Kick the shit out of it. It'll be all right. There we go. Okay. Okay. I think I want to do, yes, I want to drop in the blues in a minute. Let me think about this a minute. Do I want to, now if I detail the whale and then put the color on top of that, that'll just be another layer. I think we're going to go ahead and do that. All right. So, I'm going to go ahead and, oh, this isn't quite dry. It's almost there. I'm going to go ahead and detail out the bottom part of the whale. I'm going to drop in the color over that, and then we can start doing the waves and whatnot. And get that handled. We'll probably work on most of the bottom section of it tonight, if not, you know, save the shading for the gray and whatnot. Yeah, okay, seems like I'm still good to go. And where in Washington is the soap thing? Southwest, southeast? I'm northwest corner, obviously. About as far as you can go. Let's see here. Let's grab this famous Holbein ink. East of Olympia. Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, a little ways away. But if you ever come up this way, man, yeah, drop me an email or whatnot. I'm always down to shoot over to Seattle or over that way. If I'm out and about. We do a lot of traveling. Below Rainier. Oh, okay. I remember living in Baltimore. We occasionally made the drive to Philly just to get a cheesesteak. Because sometimes that's just what you wanted. And you wanted the real shit. Alright. Alright. Try and maintain that little kind of gap between the where I know some of the bigger waves are and the whale's fin. Fin! You're in the grid. Alright. Alright. his lines tucked up underneath his fat. Yeah, I mean Washington's Western Washington especially, just absolutely gorgeous. Up by Rainier is pretty beautiful. But yeah, I love it where I'm at. It's didn't take me long to acclimatize, get used to the weather and whatnot. I mean, I was so irritated living in San Diego at how hot it was every day. I know that sounds weird, but that bored me. I felt like I had lost something by not living in a, it's a nice balance. On the East Coast, I grew up in blizzards and hurricanes and all that bullshit, humidity, and I was like, all right, I need a balance. I need seasons, but 3 inches. All right, there you go. We know how big the butterfly is now. But yeah, I needed to change. I needed things to change seasonally. Made it feel like I earned summer. Like today is the first day of summer, right? And I earned it. It was cold as shit this morning. Actually, it was pretty mild, but still, many days of chopping firewood. But yeah, this is where I'm at. It's actually where my wife grew up, or I would have never heard of this place. I mean, I know it's a big tourist destination as far as the West Coast is concerned, but there's only 16,000 people in town, so that actually live here, which I definitely like that aspect of it. All right, we're gonna go ahead and just casually put this wave line in, just so I can. All right. Sadly, it's going to take a while to sell because people are, oh, well, the materials aren't spendy and it can't take that long. One of my favorites when they tell you how much something's worth, like $50 set of earrings is only worth $5. Well, let's get into that a little bit. I've definitely had to deal with that a lot in the beginning, but my answer to those people nowadays is fuck off. Because that's what they deserve. But a lot of people do that. Those are people you just can't convey because they themselves have probably never done anything in their life that they haven't like either bought at Walmart or it's taken them 10 minutes to do. So, yeah. But man, it always frustrates me when people, but honestly, it's like when people have said that about my artwork, it's I'm usually like, yeah, it's this price. Really? It's that price? And they mean, oh my God, expensive. And I'll be like, I know it should be more, but we're having a Memorial Day sale. Or just fuck with them a bit like that. I mean, I got really good at just making people like that feel shitty for not being a part of it, for not buying it, for not being able to which is a very good talent to have because that's usually the only way to deal with some people like that is to kind of fire back, in a way that just makes them feel like a complete fucking moron, or actually brings out the fact that they're a moron and they know nothing of art. So, yeah, and in all honesty, I mean, the cost of the materials, like, who the hell goes by that? I mean, everything you buy in your life, the cost of the materials is probably hundreds of times cheaper than what you paid for it. I mean, that is just the stupidest excuse, And it's not the, it's not the cost of the material. Obviously, it's the artist and the time put into it. And if they can't see that, well, you know what? You can tell what kind of lives they probably live as well. If they're unable to see the details in their everyday spending and everyday purchases and items that they fill their lives with, then some of them might not get it or ever get it. And that's when I started to bump my prices up and paintings started going for thousands instead of hundreds. It was like that clientele kind of disappeared a little bit. I mean, they're always out there. And especially, exactly. I had a lady who was lowballing me, so I started doubling the price each time she opened her mouth. Fuck yeah, I've done that. Exactly. How much? 500. Give you 400,000. Wait, that just went up. It's the imbecile elevator. Yeah, and like I said, I talked about it in the previous stream, but just it's when you finally take that stand, and you're like, I don't care if rent's due tomorrow. I'm not budging on this fucking price because that's what it is. And I just let them know. I'm like, look, I have collectors that have spent thousands on me, 20, 30,000 they've put into artwork. What would that look like to them if they found out I started lowballing my shit just because your sad ass can't afford it or wants to try and lowball me on a painting? It just doesn't work that way. I mean, you're giving them an example of what it looks like in a collectible market, and you're also opening up to the fact that there are people that have spent that much money on you, and that if they want to be part of that club, they need to start writing bigger checks or running the black card. And it's all a game, especially with people who collect luxury items or those who want to be, who think they're in the luxury market. They all want to be part of a club. They all want to be, playing with the big boys. And if you let them know that there's people out there that have spent like shitloads of money, or that have paid full price, even if it, it isn't 20 grand. I mean, even if it's like someone who's bought 10 pairs of earrings or whatnot, it's like you have a collector of people that's buying original artwork. Yeah. Like I said, perceived value. Easier to sell a $5,000 painting than a $500 painting. I will live and die by that. So much easier. Sometimes now with even my big clients, I'll be like, they'll be like, hey, we want this piece, da-da-da, or this, that. And I'll be like, what are you looking to spend? And sometimes the number that they throw out is higher than what I would tell them. Or, sometimes I'm just like, you know what? Or maybe I haven't sold, let's say I have a piece that's maybe $3,500 and I haven't but I haven't sold one that size in a while. Maybe I've sold like something a little higher, but I haven't sold that price range. A lot of times I will be like, hey, what are you looking to spend? Like, let's talk about that painting, $5,000, and be like, okay. So now the value of that just went up. So that 18 by 24, $3,500 painting is now worth $5,000 because that's what they're buying it for. So, and it was a price that they picked that they felt was fair. So, I mean, there's nothing shady about it. It's sometimes if you have the right person in the room, you can let them dictate the market for you. So, Panda, what's up? Welcome back. 6 hours to make them. Pair of earrings, $60. That's $10 an hour. That's ridiculously reasonable. Yeah. These remind me of forgive me if this is insulting in any way, but just the way with the 8-bit kind of look to it, like the Minecraft kind of Nintendo 8-bit. Like if you did stuff like that kind of your variation of it. I'm wondering Some of those people would eat that shit up. But that looks amazing. Yeah, 6 hours. I mean, you got to get paid for your time. Because there's a lot more things that you can do for $10 an hour that probably don't, take as much complexity. Obviously, they won't make you as happy, but that's not what you want to be doing. Especially in the fashion world, it's like, my wife makes a line of jewelry, and yeah, she can sell those things for $60, $80 all day long. I mean, fashion is expensive. Yeah, 60 is completely reasonable. I get that at Comic-Con all the time. Like, if I'm doing a comic book convention, a lot of times it's just like, uh, why are you, why are your prints 3 for $60 when, that guy over there has 5 prints for $10? And you're like, what? I don't know. Because that guy doesn't have confidence to sell his art for what it's worth. Oh, here we go. Progress. Hey, can you guys see my my stream okay? Give me a yay or nay. For some reason, the dashboard on Twitch is showing black when my OBS is running fine. I'm gonna check out Panda's. Okay, all right. So it's just the Twitch thing fucking up. All right, cool. Yeah, no, I wasn't fishing for compliments on the whale. I just seriously, my my thing is just screwed up. Let's open this up on Instagram and check out Pandas. What do we got? Oh, there we go. Oh, okay, so you got your side by side. That's awesome. Loving the eyes. It's always cool when you finally, when you drop the eyes in on a piece. I like saving the eyes for last. Shoot. Oh, you were streaming yesterday. I gotta start keeping a log of your guys' stream schedules. Moon, you're on Thursdays, right? 7:30. I think you were pretty easy to remember. I was at Home Depot, I remember, when I got the notification in Gmail. Yep. Okay. Cool. Yeah, last 2 days I was knocked out with that cold, so I'm just kind of like, that would have been a good time to jump on. I did jump on later at night and just to check out some stuff, but I was still out of it. I was so NyQuil'd out. All right. Let's get this side of the whale in. The whale tail. There we go. All right, thank you for the host. Host with the most. While you streamers are on here, let me ask you a question. And I think Moon, you were telling me this the other day. I was setting up one of the image streams on or like the slideshows on OBS, and I don't know if it was just the internet or whatnot, but it crashed the system yesterday, and when I took it down, it worked. Is there a particular file size? Is this thing, when it streams those pictures, is it coming right off my computer? It doesn't upload them first, right? Like I just kind of clicked on the full-size images, but these are like 150 gig TIFF files that are, so for some reason I'm wondering if it's stressed out or it should upload them. Okay. Yeah, maybe I'll just drop the resolution. It could be the internet. Like I said, my internet is, I pay for gig service, but man, they just got bought out. I know they're in transition right now. This new company better up the game. And we're on an island, so we don't have a lot of choices. I'm like 200 feet from actually having like the choice of like a big company like Xfinity. Price you get for being rural on an island. All right, just wondered. I'll experiment with that because yeah, I put together a nice little slideshow and it just wasn't happening. All right. There we go. All right. So yeah, I've been looking up a few tutorials, and it's funny though. I don't know if anybody else has noticed this on the internet lately, but for some reason, I remember like Google coming up with results that were a lot more relevant back, maybe not even back in the day. But I'll type in stuff that I know I'm typing it in right, and I'm asking it, question. It's not overly complex, but it just seems to me that like anytime I try and say like, OBS slideshow or something like that, tutorial, whatever, it's these, maybe the first three things that pop up actually pertain to it, and then it's just like all this crap. It's like so many, all these other services and just websites, and maybe it's an SEO thing, but I do remember actually using the internet to find information at one time or another. I'm like, everybody uses this thing. OBS is not some like random way to stream. Obviously, it's one of the. So I'm assuming people have the same questions I do. And I found a few communities and a few forums that I've jumped onto, but yeah, it just amazes me how like search results nowadays are just a lot of junk. Yeah, okay. Yeah, Google decided to sacrifice results for paid advertisers. And it shows. I mean, it's, crazy how you have to dig so much more these days to get what you're actually intending to find. And some of them are just like absolutely have nothing to do with what I'm looking for. It's like, how to use OBS, and it's like, you want to buy a Ferrari? No. Alright, get the tail in there. Alright, starting to pop. Yeah, I was watching Blade Runner the other night, the new one, and it just reminded me of that a lot. I'm like, here's exactly what the internet's going to look like. You're just going to be like logging on and just 10 times the assault of garbage advertising. It's going to pop off your computer screen in 3D. That's why I love selling my art at the rock shows. It's one thing that's definitely keeps me coming back. It's just that human interaction, just being able to, people walk up to the booth because they dig the art. You make that connection, they buy a piece, and that relationship's off and running. Why when I got these cigars in the mail, man? Hell yeah! Thank you. That is that's super cool. I'm super appreciative of that. But that kind of actually like taking the time, spending money, postage, going to the post office, whatever. I mean, that was taking time out of your day to send me those. I really appreciate that. I will definitely reciprocate. All right. Trade shows in Texas? No. Like I said, I did Deep Ellum. I've done the Austin Comic Con. Did South by Southwest. But nothing solid ever came out of those excursions, except friendships. So I go back and hang out with people I know, but nothing, no trade shows that I know of that are down there. Now, everybody wants to do their shows in Vegas, or God forbid, LA. I just, I wish they would pick some cooler places. Vegas is a shithole. I don't even go out much, like, when I'm there. It literally is like, we go to like the hotel dive bar and hang out, like the company I'm with and myself. Yeah, I've been looking around. I know the closest I used to do the River City Rock Fest in San Antonio, and they ended up moving that to the end of the year, and it coincides with the Louder Than Life, or Bourbon and Beyond, one of the shows I do in Louisville. Yeah, people just, it's like the old trade show shit you see in the movies, man. They just want to go out, and it's like, all right, we spent a day doing that trade show crap, and now we're just going to go ape shit in Vegas and put it on the company card. Now, I don't mind that part, but it is not, and that's the only reason that makes it worth it, is I get paid per day to be there, an appearance fee, and then they cover all my expenses, and that's about the only way I usually go to Vegas. My buddy just opened a bar down there, though. He does have a really kick-ass bar called Flowing Tide Pub, and eventually I'm going to be doing some artwork, hopefully as like displaying on the walls there. I know we talked about doing some art shows, some charity events there. All right, I think we're going to chill with that for a minute, because I do want to put some shading, and like I said, I may splatter some blood. Maybe he slapped the shit out of some Nazis or something. I don't know. We'll see. Beat a couple U-boats down. But I don't want to get into too much of the final line work before I decide that. Mm-hmm. Get that hair out of there. Tighten that up a little bit. Yeah, we can shade that a little bit. Alright. Bring it up a little closer. See that line work. My camera's up a lot higher to kind of fit more of this in, but have to zoom in. It just immediately goes there. Is this the same song on repeat? Okay. Yeah, cameras will never pick up all the detail. This one does a pretty good job. I mean, this was definitely the R800 Vixia Canon. I know a lot of the creative people use, so I just kind of went with that recommendation because it wasn't too expensive. I've got a GoPro as well and all that stuff, but this one definitely functionality, ease of setup, and whatnot seems to be working pretty well. So. I think let's figure out a green for this. In fact, yeah, let me start putting in some more of these bolder colors, and then we'll hop back down to the ocean. So, $200 maybe. I think it's on Amazon. Yeah, I think it was like $199. And then I hook it. I have a 27-inch iMac that I'm running it through, and through the Blackmagic Ultra Studio mini recorder. Yeah, we'll get an army green in there, but I think I'm going to fade a little lime green out here first, and then bring the darker green in just to give it a highlight. And then, yeah, so, you know what time it is. Time to head to the PBR lunchbox. I got to get them to sponsor this segment. It's time to go to the PBR lunchbox. It's where all great paintings start. I have deep green. I got hooker green.
Hooker green?
There's a green called hooker green.
Hooker?
No, hooker. Hookers, I'm sorry. It's possessive. Not only is it it is it is the hooker's green, like preferred and owned by. Gotta use the hookers. I think so. I think we're gonna hoe this whale out. You know?
Oh, we want to work on that.
Just because of the name. I do. I have it right. Can you guys see that? There you go. Hooker's green. Good shit. We can start with a hooker's green. I don't have to go with
I want to start with a hooker's dream.
a hooker's dream. Yes. I want to help a hooker find a dream.
Find a dream. All right, that's gonna be the name of the song I'm gonna make.
You're gonna make help a hooker find a dream.
Oh, that name just got really long.
How about like hooker dream catcher? Like, I could do the art for that. Just draw a dream catcher, but like all the little lines in between just form like a pinup girl on the corner. We got next week's painting, I think, figured out. And the music. Let's hurry up and get this piece done so I can start making the dreams come true for hookers everywhere. They all have one. Or they all had one, and that's how they ended up hooking. All right, let's see what these screens actually look like once we smear them.
So is it green?
That's almost the same.
Catcher?
Green hooker Dream Catcher?
Or is it green dream catcher?
I need that to be a little darker. Well, I don't know.
Well, it's hooker dream catcher.
Hooker Dream Catcher.
No green. Five green.
Hooker Catcher? That sounds like an Aphex Twin song.
Oh, well, it's a right song too.
Yeah, Hooker Catcher.
Hooker catcher. That'll be the Apex Twin remix.
Yeah, like their window liquor remix. What's it called? That guy up. What? Chris Cunningham, right? Does all the video work.
Yeah, Richard James.
Richard James. The man, the myth, the legend. What did I need? Hooker screen. I want to put some. Oh, duh. I want to add a little black. This is not a hooker with a heart of gold. Oh shit, that was a lot of black. All right, there we go. So we'll mix that, hit it with some water, and then we'll start, touching that in. Boom. Excellent. We're going to rename Army Olive Drab Hooker's Green. They just didn't know what they were using. There we go. We're just littlest amount of water. I do want to make sure some of the brush strokes kind of show up because it's just a beat up piece of metal. Well, Sugar's working on the ultimate soundtrack for hooking across America. It kind of fits. We were just talking about Vegas, so it all fits together. Yeah. Yeah, I'm feeling this green. This could work, and it will because I've already smeared it over a large portion of the whale. So, and we add a little bit more water so we can get in these tight spots. And a tad more green that we're going to just blend and mix in there. Okay, we go right over these wings because they're going to be translucent white. Get a little black in there. Yeah, let's take a little more hooker. Nice. Hal just chimed in. There we go. How 9,000? Hill Street Blues. Nice. Yeah. Or Inspector Gadget.
Just like when I think of hookers, I think of like fucking
Law and Order.
TV drama.
Oh yeah, TNT. Den. Can you do the Law and Order?
I don't know what that sounds like.
The Den. Oh yeah, you have to look that up. I mean, it's 2 notes. That's Jaws. Ministry used it in one of their songs, actually.
Jaws or Law and Order.
Law and Order. It was just ding ding, But he used it as like a beat. It was pretty crazy. All right, so that's the body. We're gonna just kind of fuzz it around the fuzz. Bring it up a little brighter green around the star. So we're gonna, a lot of smoke and char and battle damage and explosions and dirt and grime and salt water and all that mixed together. That's how you get that shit. All right, maybe a few less elements than that. Okay, go back into this wet. In the background, Sugar's working on the first track to Hooker's Dreamcatcher. It's a take on Wagner. It's Hooker's Entering the Gates of Valhalla. Oh, nice. I saw Ministry at a club called NRG in Houston back in the 80s. Saw Nine Inch Nails also before Trent went huge. That's cool. Very cool. I wish I would have seen the 80s Ministry shows. I've seen Ministry about a dozen times. Nine Inch Nails about the same. Absolutely amazing shows. I mean, the earliest I saw Jurgensen was like 95, but it was in New Orleans, and he was still drinking and on heroin, and that was a hell of a show. And it was at the House of Blues. And then my first Nine Inch Nails show was the Self-Destruct Tour in 94 at George Mason University. That was a great show. It dumped like 4 inches of rain in an hour on the way there. Like, everybody was just naked in the place. T-shirt sales were through the roof. Those guys were just like, they did the rain dance that afternoon. I know it. And they were just banking. I crashed it?
Nope.
Oh.
I crashed it. Been crashing it a lot.
Yeah. All right. So we're kind of, even though we did go around, we're going to go in and just scrub a light dusting of this green. We're lightly going to hook her up this star. And then again, just kind of like the whale, I'm going to go in with the white, and I'm going to blend the white into the green, and it's going to look like it's more aged. I've done different techniques. This is one that's purely brush. I also do one where I'll put it in there and hit it with like 200 grit sandpaper, or even like 80 or 120. You know, land of rape and honey, not milk and honey. Land of, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I saw him 5 years after Psalm 69. Mine was like the, what was that awful album? Not Animosity Samina, with the dunce cap and Lay Lady Lay, and, you know, I forgot the name of it. Bad Blood was on it, and a couple of good tunes, but it was during the Clinton years, so, you know, when there's a Democrat in office, his albums suck ass. Good Ministries only fueled during Republican administrations. I don't know what it is. But he has a track record. All right, and now we're just kind of scrubbing, doing a little bit of the splash. This could be anything from bullets smashing off the metal to just age marks. He is a whale. He could be battering up against underwater stuff. Like I said, maybe even a submarine or maybe U-boat. And we'll keep some of that splash that went up there. You know. But yeah, it was cool. I was we just saw Ministry. What was it, last year? I saw Ministry last year.
Was it last year?
It was for Comic-Con. We saw him at San Diego Comic-Con at House of Blues. And then they played High Elevation Fest, and I think that was the year before, though. And then also the how else did they do that? They were yeah, they were at Rock on the Range when they got their half-hour set, and Al was super pissed about that. But one of the coolest Ministry shows I've been to was opening bands were Thrillkill Cult and Hansel and Gretel. If you haven't looked them up, are a fucking hilarious and awesome kind of metal industrial fusion, whatever, band out of New York. But they come on stage in like lederhosen and picklehall helmets and have songs like SS Death Star, Super Galactic, and they it's kind of a cheeky little poke at how every kid who listens to industrial music wants to be German if they're not. They get a great sense of humor. There we go. I'm gonna kind of blend that by tapping it. Hope it gets in there. No problem. Okay. While that dries before we get to do the fun shit with the water, actually, I'm gonna go in and put a little more. I'm gonna put a few more hookers over here to defend this part of the whale. All right. There we go. Darken it a little bit underneath there. We'll get in there. And again, this isn't the final shading, so. Yeah, just that, because that's not how it occurs. I mean, none of the pieces I do. I mean, if this was a showpiece, like if someone had constructed this whale as a vehicle for a car show, then yeah, I would paint this completely different and actually pay attention to the, you know, consistency of color. But this thing, like I said, saltwater, grime, war, dirt, dust, everything, it is not going to have a nice paint job. And I like that. I mean, that's, one reason I like doing these scenes as well. And then what I'm going to do is take this bright ass lime green here, which if you remember from the Hunter S. Thompson painting, I used as the background for the circle. And was kind of like, is that going to work? And it did. We're going to bring a little bit in here to offer somewhat of just a highlight on the edge for now. And we can even tap a little orange into that later for the explosion. Oh, someone's firing guns. I can hear them out front. They must be watching the stream. Needs a grunge look, exactly. So also with hookers, it needs a grunge look. So we need some hookers. We need Kurt Cobain and Eddie Vedder over here. Lane Staley. We're just going to have a cast of characters riding this whale. There we go. Okay. We need like grunge green, grunge gray. There we go. Kind of blend that in. Okay. Yeah. Bring that around the top. There we go. All right, we're going places. Sugar has writer's block. I don't hear any more hooker tunes. Oh, we have technical difficulties. This may require a dab hit. Oops. Top of the brush almost flew off. There we go. Well, it could be fireworks outside. We do live, even though fireworks are illegal here in the city limits.
Yeah, it seemed like more than gunshots.
Yeah, we do have an Indian reservation next to us, and that's where we go buy our fireworks and aim them at the city. Fuck you. Okay. I like that. That is definitely grungy. And then once we put some highlights in and all that good shit, it'll look good. So we have a tail, and definitely is a little more blue, little whatever. We can buff that out, start in on that. I think, let's see, where should we go from here? I almost want to change the color of these machine guns. I know the green will, maybe this guy will be more of a yellowish green, maybe more of an orange out here. I don't know. Think about that. Now for the mosquitoes, I'm wondering, let's do a, maybe like a red and white. Every other red, white, red, white, red, white. And I'm thinking they could be their own thing. Like each one of these could be a different color scheme that doesn't necessarily have to, I mean, they could be whatever. They could, you know, like in nature, they could each have their own, maybe colors in common, but different color schemes depending if they're male or female, or that would be an option too. And then what I'll do shading wise, I'll do a lot more of the shading with blues down here to give it, you know, make sure that underwater feel. Up here, more grays. And then bringing in a lot more, you know, maybe some of the purples and whatnot from the sky. And then the ending highlights will be, you know, the final highlights will all include like what the explosion looks like and whatnot. So I think we might brighten up back behind here real quick. Just dry this brush off. I know that's going to be a little bit darker, but I do want to see what it looks like. I'm going to go in some of this orange. This is going to be where the bulk of the explosion is too, but these are going to be like really, all the little lines in the cloud from the explosion are actually going to be in like this bluish gray. So if you remember the bat wings from the Hunter S. Thompson piece I did last week, that's what the explosion is going to be like. But I want to make sure this, and this orange starts off really bright if it's thick, and as you blend it, it turns into that salmon color. So I'm just kind of putting a base around the pillbox in the hill here, because I don't want it to be too washed out in the background. Would you like to recover your hooker work? Good shit.
I'd like to recover my prostitute, please.
Yeah. Computer is currently reviving your hooker. Your green hooker.
I'd like to rebolster my hooker. I cut her skin off and
Made her green, man. You're like Captain Kirk.
I made her into furniture. She needs to be recovered.
Oh, jeez. There we go. right, just yeah, there'll be that in there. In fact, I think I'm gonna carry it up to the whale's mouth. I just want to make sure there's some nice, strong, bold colors behind the white of the whale, which will really make this thing pop. There we go. All right. And how many character drawings are you doing before you bring the big piece? Think of 3. I think I want to do the Sherman centipede. I want to do the whale, and I want to do the mosquito. I want one with just like a giant mosquito and whatnot. And I kind of want to, and that'll give me time to get all the pencils done on the big piece before I start streaming it and really figure out how the fuck I am going to stream it. If I'm just zooming in on a part, or one of the other options was, usually I work on an easel, just straight up and down and paint like that. And I could have the camera just zoomed in over my shoulder, but another option was to do a top down and just maybe build an extension onto my drawing table. I've got some scrap lumber or whatnot, and then be able to put a 4-foot canvas down and kind of walk around the canvas and work on it, or kind of reach over to certain areas and then, move it around. But maybe with a clamp system, I'll be able to move it. But yeah, it's one good thing about having a 1,300 square foot studio and a lot of scrap lumber and power tools. I'm getting into building all sorts of weird custom. Where do I get my rotating easel built? I've had this idea for years, but as part of my performance on stage when I do live art, I've always wanted to have a rotating easel that held 3 different canvases. So I would spin it and work a little bit, spin it, work on the other canvas, spin it, work on the other one, just keep rotating back and forth, adding to it and whatnot, and people are kind of, what's going on? And then at the end of the night, you stop the middle canvas, the 2 over here fold out and show off a complete 3-panel painting. So working on cool stuff like that. I've been kicking around this idea with a couple of metal fabricators to get this worked up for me. So, and then on top, it'll have like modular attachments for, you can add a TV to shoot footage or show footage above me. You can have a lighting rig. You can have a camera. I don't know. I've just sketched this thing out and thought about it for a few years. So, but definitely want to, especially once Sugar and I get our, once the Riken Funk music project is ready to, once we're ready to start thinking in that direction of figuring out the stage performance, that's when that's really going to come into play. So, because I'm not all about just sitting in front of an easel. I like to get out there. I like to paint in front of people. And if I can make it that much more interesting, or, like I said, with the Riken Funk project, actually, like, tell the story of something. It just adds one more element to my art of it, and the whole package adds more to the package deal. All right. Oh yeah, I was gonna, just a smidge, just a little bit over here to say, hey, you know what? I'm the sun. I will get into every crack possible. Yeah, bring a little bit of that. In fact, yeah, let's buff that out a little bit, blend it in, really give it a good scrubbing. There we go. So just a little bit. It looks a lot darker on screen actually than it does on the painting. So I think we gave this more of a fiery kind of what's going on above the hill here, you know, behind Normandy look to it. So yeah. Let's see here.
Sky's all clear and awesome today.
Yeah.
Yeah, the moon is just like popping hard.
I should bust out my daughter's telescope.
Fuck yeah.
Go look at some stars. I need to catch the northern lights. So just start kind of putting the white in on the star here.
Bright as fuck.
And I'm just kind of pulling down on the paint a little bit. It looks like it's, you know, just years of him coming out of the water, you know, pushing down on this paint. Time we got 11 o'clock. All right. Not bad, not bad. Yeah, just kind of get in there with the rag. Almost sanding it back off. Okay. A lot of this is gonna be down here. Maybe we should start. You know what? Let me also, since I have the white out, let's take a touch of water and let's bring in the wings a little bit on these skeeters. Nope, I'm off camera. I knew that. There we go. There we go. Okay. Just a little bit of white. There we go. And let's bring these wings back in. Those are different hooker smack drums you can hear in the background.
There was.
The pimp slap feature. It's such a sadistic machine. There we go. Alright, so we got a little bit of white, bringing these in. Alright, coming into the second hour of the stream with a good base coat. Some nice base colors. Very colorful but toxic sky. There we go. Alright, we'll leave this alone for now. Let that kind of marinate. I'm going to pop over to these blues again. I'm going to start dropping in a few shadows, start shading in the whale tail. I'm basically just going to follow, whoa, a little too watery. Just kind of follow around. Where I put the lines. And going over the black's okay, because all this is going to get kind of buffed over with a blue towards the end to give it that watery feel. Somewhat. More the tail than anything, but... There we go. What is that? Oh. That was one of my hillbilly neighbors driving by. It's nice and dark down here. There we go. Make sure anything up close to the body here gets a little shot of blue. Alright, so we're adding a little bit of depth. Okay. Let's fade that up a little bit. Make sure right where that wave hits, a little bit darker, fade it down. There'll be a nice white highlight on the top of that. Let's bring it forward. There we go. Okay. My orange juice. Get my second win for my orange juice. More water. More workability. There's some tedious little shading in here. Probably not very exciting. I swear we'll get back to some line work. I swear, man. There we go. That was Hookertronic by Sugar.
It still is.
It still is. It sounds like Tron.
It sounds like Tron.
Like Hookertronic. Like I'm in the grid buying prostitutes.
Well, we haven't had it since fucking thrash metal guitar.
Exactly. I enjoy the whole process.
What's that?
Oh, cigars, I was laughing. Yeah. Cool. I'm glad you're still entertained. Sometimes I get lost in just doing the painting and I'm like, oh wait, I'm streaming. I should probably maybe say something. Yeah. Untronify it. Detron it. Nice. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I'm gonna like this series. This is gonna be a fun group of characters. And it's all building up, Sometimes with Vera, I'd like to do some animation or whatnot, but always had this thought of just doing a book. I don't care if there's a storyline to even cohesively put everybody together, but just taking every character I've ever designed, just put them in one book. And I got some fucked up characters, so my early comic book days. But I think it would work. I could see Vera chilling with some mosquitoes. Michelobio space aliens coming down. Just like all the horse shit and nonsense that we joke about, or whatever. Just remembering all that and then putting it all into one book. Just writing a book more like how life would play out. As opposed to like coming up with a script with a beginning, middle, and end, or conceptually what, it's like, I don't know. I got no concept in mind other than to like come up with these weird characters and then create something to fuse them all together. Don't have to introduce all of them at once, of course, but that would be wild. Yeah, hell yeah. And they would all smoke cigars. I get a few characters that smoke cigars. Actually, the main character, what the fuck's his name? I forgot his name. Otto, I believe. Yeah. In Catalepsy, it was a comic book I did. He snuck a cigar in an airplane toilet because he couldn't deal with the guy next to him that had foot-long nose hairs. So he got stressed out and had to go smoke a cigar in the lavatory, and he flushed it down the toilet and it got stuck. And that's how his whole journey begins, is he's trying to like stomp this cigar into the airplane toilet and unclog it. And he himself ends up getting sucked out of the airplane with the cigar, and he's just like, oh shit. But it's kind of like midday or evening when he's flying, so night is like coming up over the horizon, and night actually reaches out and catches him, sets him down in this town where there's like cobblestone streets, but all the cobblestones are just bald-headed guys that have been hammered into the road, and they just yell at you when you step on them. So that's the kind of shit that my comic books deal with. Whoa. Yeah, I did a lot of trippier shit back then. A lot of characters, were a lot more just how weird can I get? Like just how absolutely obscenely odd, How tough can I make their backstories? How weird, how disastrous can I make their lives? And then how do I help them get out of that situation? They were like my children. Like I've created these deformed creatures, now I gotta help them out somehow. Oh, Dietrich, what did you do? So, yeah. I think bringing them all together in one book might be kind of cool. All right, got a nice little start on the shading. Just make sure it's this really thick paint just right around this corner here. There we go. And I think that might be, yeah, we might bring that's all going to be underwater. That's why I shaded that blue. But everything else is above water on the whale is going to be shaded like gray. There we go. And then we can add, maybe some, a little bit of blue around his eye. Because he's the Frank Sinatra of whales. Whatever that means. It means absolutely not. He's going to sing you a tune before he fucks you up. Alright, let's, I probably need to run this palette over here. There's already some white and black. Oh, who am I kidding? Let's cheat. There's gray. Alright. Okay. So what I'd like to do is, in fact, I'm going to go in with some big white here. Really get that popping on this back edge. Yeah, just almost like buff out his back. In fact, we can bring it all the way down here. Anything above water. Just bring it right as possibly be. Cats and dogs living together. Mass hysteria. Alright. There we go. A little more. I'm just kind of taking that white and, but all angling it towards the eye. So we can show that brightness starts as far away from the eye as possible. Get that brightest part of the whale. This is all going to be darkened in and then highlighted. There we go. Okay. A little wash on that. And let's jump into our gray. And basically, we're going to go pretty dark around here and work our way out. And then that way, when I start putting highlights in, we're going to have like a nice dark base for the highlights of this explosion to come in off of. And up close, we're going to, almost like a human face, the lines are a lot more distinct and finer and cut closer to the eye, and then
where they're out on your face, they just kind of fizzle. A lot softer. But we'll make sure we get a nice dark base up underneath his eyelid there. My thoughts on using expensive acrylics. That is a good question. I tend not to. I have upgraded my acrylics, since like the garbage run-of-the-mill half-gallon bottles that I used to use, like the Blick acrylic or whatever. It comes down to longevity too. Like if you can get the vibrancy you want out of a certain brand of acrylic, do it, go for it. But quality acrylics are going to give you, they're going to last longer. They're going to have some vibrancy you can't achieve. But I don't know. I haven't really experimented with a lot of super expensive acrylics, so I don't think I have an honest opinion on that. My career, has been built off half-assed acrylic or whatever's been on sale. The ones I'm using though are a step up. They are much better than the, But I don't have a lot of golden or Liquitex or whatnot. A buddy of mine uses them, and you can tell a difference. But it's also how you protect your artwork as well. I think there's a lot of factors involved. So, what I 100% don't believe in is paying $90 for a paintbrush. So as far as the tools themselves, I tend to go on the cheaper end because I beat the shit out of these brushes so much. So, yeah, they can be, but I kind of, part of me likes to think that I'm right in not using super expensive paints because it's just a whole kind of fluff deal to sell you expensive paints by saying, oh, they're the purest this or that, or they're archival, or like, well, if I'm painting on archival paper, that's going to help. There's other little things that you can do. If you seal it, just think of the shit we pull out of a junkyard and we buff it and sand it and seal it and refinish it, and all of a sudden it's beautiful again. It's kind of like that. So, yeah, don't sit a painting in direct sunlight for 50 years or, super high-end, like, archival paints are really nice, but, if I think my painting's going to be in a gallery for 500-600 years, I may pop a few extra bucks, but, yeah, I just never, I was always able to achieve what I wanted with the paints that I use, but at the same time, I haven't experimented with a lot of super expensive paints, so who knows what else I might achieve, or, technique-wise, or washes, or, like, oh, it's a heavier body acrylic, so if I water it down, it's still going to be, a more vibrant, or whatnot, so, yeah, let me get a few, and I'll experiment, let you know, but I think it's like anything, it's 9 times out of 10, it's not the materials, it's the person wielding them. Yeah, because when I was 15, watching Bob Ross and learning how to paint by doing the Bob Ross method. There were oil paints, and I could have bought Grumbacher and, which I think were less expensive than Bob Ross's. I might be wrong. This was so many years ago, but I think, like, even the really nice Grumbacher stuff or whatnot was, like, less than Bob Ross because he was iconic, and they could charge you $90 for a brush or whatever. But I remember saving up Christmas and birthday money and finally getting a Bob Ross set and then painting just some of the worst fucking seascapes you've ever seen. Any ship who sailed in my seascape was destined for doom. They were just gonna sink right out of port. So, but yeah, I just think there's more budget options that can achieve the same thing. You know, and nicer brushes. Some will last longer depending on your technique and whatnot and whatnot. I do agree with that, but the people that focus on that and think and spend and just, oh, I've got to buy these expensive brushes, and it just terrifies me because I'm like, part of building up your art career as well is being able to, maintain the cost of becoming an artist and being an artist. And like you said, paints are so goddamn expensive sometimes that, and with me, I didn't have that kind of loot. So I was like, all right, well, I need to use, and I need to figure out how to use the best way possible what I can't afford. And if I wanted to achieve something, I kind of had to look up a technique or create a technique, and that's just how it went. Yeah, LOL. My cheesecakes are fucking horrible. They're around here somewhere. One day I'll pop out some of my old. So my grandma passed away last year. Almost 2 years ago. I don't know, but I got back all the artwork that I had gifted her over the years, and I just it was sentimental, so I thought I would keep it. And yeah, I got back one of my first seascape paintings that I did Bob Ross style, and those poor bastards that were sailing that fucking ocean. Called gearheads. They just buy and test the gear and I yeah, it's like anything. It's why people go to art school and spend $100,000 and then come out a worse artist or not an artist at all, or they wonder where that raw talent went. And I equate it to it's almost the same as growing up. When you wonder oh God, am I turning into my parents, or why am I losing my? It's like because you didn't concentrate on what made your art great in the first place, and that was that raw energy that came from you. It was what was in your head. It was the ideas and the criteria that you set for yourself when creating a good painting. It wasn't listening to art teachers that didn't make it and now teach, and not to be offensive to teachers and whatnot, but I just think in the art world, there's a lot better ways to learn art. Can I put that in quotes? I made a bunch of earrings for a woman I call Grandma. I told her I don't want the earrings back. I have the feeling that I will end up with the earrings I go with. There you go. Yeah, I mean, and that probably it makes her super happy. And that's the thing is when I was started out and I put out my first comic book, I mean, I sold 400 copies as a kid. That's almost as much as a good indie book sells right now when it launches, if not more. So for me, it was well, there's people out there that believe in it and that believe that, even if it's just the weird kid in high school, well, besides me, that bought my comic, so at least, there was something there. And I realized at a young age that going to art school wasn't going to nurture that. That does not come from sitting in a classroom. That comes from going out there and finding more people like that dude, and building up an army of people like that to support your art. I was looking at art colleges possibly. I'm just what why? Because, I mean, I've seen plenty of friends of mine go into the Art Institute and come out, just with the creativity beaten out of them. Because they're just trying to, mold these kids into, oh, you're going to work at Pixar. You're going to work at the Lucas Ranch. You're going to... It's just like a farm. Yeah, it is sad. Because a lot of these, because that's the big transitional point in, your life. I mean, once you leave high school and you know, the black and white turns into the color of Oz, and you start having real world problems, and you have to start creating a life. I mean, it's, your art is going to have to evolve, but one of the greatest things that you can do for your art is to let this, that wonderful transition period from teenage to adulthood seep into it and actually learn from it. Like when I moved to New Orleans, I knew, I was like, man, I'm going to meet some crazy motherfuckers that are going to inspire some awesome paintings. And all my weird ass characters in my comics and piano playing dumpster babies to the guy who gets flushed out of a toilet, 2 kids that are cloned and hallucinate a teddy bear. I mean, all these characters came from encounters that I had, or people that would inspire that. Obviously there were no literal people that I met like that, but I met some very interesting characters, and I learned to paint with that. I didn't spend my early 20s in a classroom, and then all of a sudden you're out and you're in debt, $100,000, and you have to find a job, and then all that's left is like graphic design factories and corporate jobs just churning out complete bullshit, or God forbid web design. Sorry if anybody's a web designer, but Sugar is too, so on the side. Yeah, I'm digging how this is coming. This one's a little slower in the scope of things. There's going to be a lot more, I think, with the little amounts of detail and whatnot. I like that. I like kind of getting real crunchy on certain parts of a painting and then leaving other aspects like very open. Even though he will have his spots and whatnot, it'll really kind of draw your eye to his eye and whatnot. So. So we'll hang on to this for another day. We won't throw them in the ocean yet. There we go. Yeah, making that just, bringing some bright color, all the detail there. And then this is all pretty well open. There'll be plenty of line work, though, don't worry. Flecks and dots and swirly things. So we'll start to come in around the gear. Or is it a second eyeball? No, it's a gear. Yeah. Yeah, and that's why, like, early on, my characters were a lot of my characters are just covered in dirt, so I just blacken their faces in, or only highlight features that I like. Oh, I'm really good at drawing noses, so you'll see his nose, but not much else. I tried to play off my strengths. Early on, I was not good at color. Like you said, you focus on color and form and whatnot, and that's why I got very good at black and white, and I liked it, I liked working in black and white too, so, but yeah, but I knew, I knew I just wanted to keep producing. I knew I wanted to, still be in the comic industry, and so I just kind of, my characters were not only, the comic itself was kind of a journal of who I met, and then the character designs were a reflection of my strengths on what I could actually draw. And it kind of evolved from there, Evolution. Single-celled comic book noses to actual pinup girls with proportionately correct breasts and long hair. In fact, we did, I'm going to have to re-release these books, but I did a comic called Fervor. And we always, years and years, from doing, oh my God, so many years, 18 years at San Diego Comic-Con, we always, my friends and I always used to just, laugh at the guys who read comic books as if it was porn, and how they drew the superhero girls, with massive tits and just, just pure exploitation and overly sexualized, characters. And so we came up with this comic. Well, we were kind of kicking around the concept, and then I ran with it and came up with a comic book. And I was like, I said, well, what if we introduce? So the comic's done in 3 parts. So part 1 is okay. So part 1, you meet this businessman, and he's fashionable, toast of the town, typical kind of. You'd probably compare him to Trump nowadays after all the shit that he's been getting into, but he basically is just getting ready to go out night on the town, and he's just talking about how awesome he is, and he's just why wouldn't you want to hang out with me, and I'm this, that, and every which way. And so we kind of not to give the whole story away, but he's that's Act 1. You kind of meet him, and then Act 2, he goes off and ends up at this strip club, cocktail lounge, and he walks in, and then Act 2, we meet Anna, who is one of the dancers there, and so we kind of go through her day, and so we she gets to the club, walks in, wonders, she's just talking about her day-to-day life, how many guys are going to give her phone number and try and tell her that they can offer her the world and all the usual shit women get offered on a daily basis. And then she ends up walking into after she gets off stage dancing, she meets this businessman, and he's already got a girl, and so they want to hook up and take her back to their condo or whatnot, have a little 3-way. And so they do, and during the act, she ends up butchering both of them in bed, and then doing cocaine off the eyeball of the dude with the devil. It's a cool drawing. And that's Act 2. And then you end up finding out that Anna is actually a 400-500 pound obese woman. This is Act 3, and she performs sexual atrocities on businessmen, overzealous businessmen in subway bathroom stalls, in order to fuel these nightmares or these dreams of being thin and extracting revenge on guys like this that actually exist. So it's this really twisted, psychotic, the whole point of the book was to get all these, guys to read, all these comic guys to kind of go, oh yeah, we're into Anna. Anna's cool. She's hot. She's a stripper. She kills this dude. She does coke with the devil. Gets them all, and then you end up, it's just this, almost supernaturally fueled nightmare for this obese girl that can't leave the, just her room that's in front of a mirror. And so it's like an anti-vanity thing where she's like, you know, overdriven by all the magazines and all that. We basically took everything in this story about like, you know, everything from body shaming and hypersensitivity and photoshopped images on Vogue magazine and then the whole drawing the girls the way they look in comic books and just kind of like putting together this thing where we, you know, just tried to make these guys that read it feel sick, you know, for getting into comics like that or for even reading that aspect, you know, of the comic book or being into that aspect. So I don't know if I pulled it off, but it's a pretty fucked up book. So it's just a weird story. But I remember when it came out, I actually had a representative from Jerry Bruckheimer and whoop, scrub that away. MTV Films and Platinum Studios, who own Men in Black and a bunch of other stuff, came by the booth at Comic-Con and were asking about optioning it for a movie. So it was funny, and maybe they could have gotten away with it back in the day or could have pulled something off, but I really don't think people would get the point these days. There'd be someone who just looks at it the wrong way, and then all of a sudden it's some, you know, they take it the wrong way and they try and like turn it into something it isn't. It'd be a tough sell. Bruckheimer, yeah. But, you know, but that gives you an idea kind of where my comics go. I love to take really, really wild left turns with aspects of society today. And that just gives you a good idea of where a whole comic book can come from. Just sitting around Comic-Con watching, you know, watching guys walk around and stopping these cosplay chicks just to get pictures. And like, what do you do with those? I mean, I kind of get the idea, but you know, like, I mean, just to have a collection, I don't know. I'm sure there's some innocence to some of them, but I don't know. I think it's creepy. But, you know, I also have a wife and a young daughter, so if she dressed up at a Comic-Con and somebody wanted to stop her and take a picture, I'd probably beat them senseless with their camera. So. Just for the warning.
I'm hungry again.
You got pizza?
No.
I got a fine cigar. Pipe and a crepe? Yeah. I don't know. Cosplay's cool. I mean, to me, it's like, just reminds me of the old Ministry song, "Every Day is Halloween," man. I mean, I can see dressing up. I like dressing up for Halloween, but
It's like being a goth kid every single day.
it is. It's like being a goth kid every single day, you know? I mean, it's a hobby. I guess I can't knock it. I paint pictures of whales and mosquitoes for a living. I don't know. But, yeah, but some of the obsessiveness with it or the, I don't know. It's like anything. There's a weird undercurrent to a lot of stuff out there. But I gotta admire the artistry. I mean, some of these costumes are just out of control, and they are awesome. And I like that. The artistry behind it's great. The culture behind it is, you know, once it gets beyond the cosplayer is a little weird, but there's something for everyone. But of course, it's when people take it too far, you know. When they start to think that these girls that are scantily clad are literally up for grabs, you know, it's like, come on, dude. Yeah, I mean, I never did the cosplay thing. I never really. I mean, because every Comic-Con I've ever gone to, aside from a few I went to in the '90s to get a few books signed, and I had a few friends. I've literally only been to Comic-Cons where I'm pushing my own book and at my like a publisher's table or my own booth or signing autographs or whatnot. I've never actually gone to one where I'm just like, oh, I'm gonna dress up as Edward Scissorhands and take pictures. So I don't know. You know, kind of like anime. I did the San Diego Anime Con. I was the guest of honor, artist guest of honor, and like Vampy was like the cosplay guest of honor. She's from Japan or whatnot, and she's big in the industry or whatnot. But it was interesting because I wasn't really into anime since like the '90s. So I'm like, you just found out about furries. Okay, on that note, you got to watch. Man, it's an Entourage episode, that HBO show. But just look up Entourage furry episode, and Turtle and Johnny Drama get into some shit with a furry, and it's hilarious. Oh yeah, there's furries. There's fucking. I'm sure there's ones where they dress up as like sea crustaceans and fit together and form coral reefs. Like, you know, who fucking knows? He's furry. That's great. That just seems like kind of a okay. What could go wrong? But
This thing supposedly has 25 milligrams of THC.
25 milligrams of THC.
That
All
is
right.
considered 5 doses.
That's 5 doses. What is it?
Blood orange lemonade.
Ray's Blood Orange Lemonade. When you need lemonade and 25 milligrams of THC. My best friend introduced me to furries. I told him I was going to kick his butt next time I saw him. I can't get it out of my head. Your friend's hilarious. Made with real lemon juice and fake pot. No.
Wow.
Yeah. That's always fun, introducing your friends to something that is just weird that you know will fuck with them.
This was made like a year ago.
Really?
It's best by August 10th.
Of this year?
Yeah.
THC.
Manufactured August 10th last year.
Does THC go bad?
Well, no, but blood orange lemonade might.
He was like, check this link out. I was like, what the fuck is that? And then he explained
Are you
it.
able to do the lighter opener thing?
Yeah. Oh, you don't know how to do that? Well, yeah. Here we go.
I'm not an alcoholic.
I'm not an alcoholic. No, but I learned geometry and
And levers.
fulcrums and levers and whatever the fuck that falls under.
Yeah, both.
The only math I probably did good in.
Wow, that's still pretty weedy.
Smell? Weedy? Blood orange weed aid.
But it tastes good.
I bet it do. Oh, that's underwater. It needs to be blue. Alright. And we will put a little gray over here and blend it in. Give it a little whoop whoop. Okay. So. We will hold off on the. Let's see here. Okay. Actually, let me get back into that really dark grayish black. Touch of water. Hey, we'll have to do a furry painting next. Yeah, me too. I was whiskey and beer. I've actually never smoked pot, so that's what my wife and that's what this guy's here to do. They smoke for me.
We're here to do it
Yeah,
for you.
they're my entourage. Yo, smoke this.
Smoking Jeffrey.
Yeah, I'll get there. No hurry, no, whatever. But I would like to try some pot eventually. Try a little marijuana. But
You really want to try
I want some blood orange lemonade.
mescaline.
Mescaline, whatever. Yeah, that was Hunter S. Thompson's favorite. So,
Fucking love mescaline.
and we all got to follow our idols. Well, except the suicide part.
Where's the duh?
Not into that.
Suicide?
Yeah, I plan on annoying people for a very long time.
For you.
It can be a trip. What, suicide?
It's fun to take a trip.
Smart that way too strong for me. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, man. THC levels, all that. I mean, there's some strong ass shit out there. I mean,
Especially if you've never done it before.
yeah, I mean, I'm sure my first time will be,
On one hand, you'll be like,
woo! I'll be like, why on earth do people do this shit? I feel mellow and calm. I don't like being mellow though. That's my I like chilling, but I don't like being. I don't know, and I think I've seen too many pop movies because my wife is completely functioning and she gets a lot done, and so does Sugar. I probably know the two people on Earth that do the most and are the most productive. Why? But I don't want to take a hit and be like Brad Pitt in True Romance. Floyd. And just kind of be zoned out. And I fucking hate being mellow. I mean, I don't need to be like a charged up crack addict or anything, but depends on the strain. Yeah, strand. Yeah, the strain.